Alright, so I thought I would record this little video today because chronicling the days in the life of a professor. Once again, we have a little incident. Just tell you about my class today. So I'm talking about basically how people came to North America, and the current theories, according to the anthropologists, is that there was a migration across the Bering Strait, which everybody knows about, and some people might have sailed across as well, right, from Polynesian type. And so what I was talking about is how identities are sort of, or racial identities are constructed. And I said, we call them Native Americans, but if you look further back, ethnically and, according to their DNA, well, those people came from Asia, right? And they do share, even if you go on 23andMe, it'll classify you as Native American or Asian, right? And apparently I have a student who's very big on his Native American identity and decides that that's offensive, right? Comes and tells me after class, I was offended. And I'm like, by what? Well, that you said that Native Americans are from Asia. I'm like, I don't say that. Tons of fucking research says that. Right? And this is like, what the hell are you offended about? This is the kind of shit that we have to deal with all the time, right? And granted, no one else is offended, right? This only happens, it's always a very small minority of students that are like this, right? But as a professor, this is always the most complainy student, right? You can already tell which ones are going to be the complainers. And I have to worry, now is this kid going to go complain and say that I offended him and his Native American identity because I said something, that's widely accepted as fact, right? And this is where we get into that whole thing that, like, if you've heard a lot of these guys like Jordan Peterson talk about the whole postmodernism thing, because in their mind, his people's oral traditions are every bit as valid as all the scientific research and DNA that shows otherwise, right? Which is horseshit, right? And as a professor, what the hell are you supposed to do? Am I supposed to, like, ask everybody at the beginning of class, like, tell me what your beliefs are so that I can tell you what you already know or what you want to hear, right? But this is the kind of crap you go through all the time, right? And not all the time, but it's happening with greater and greater frequency. And the fact that as an adjunct professor, you always have to worry about these things because they tend to take complaints seriously. Everyone, they regard them as semi-valid. Now, it depends on your institution, where you're at, how seriously they take them, but you always have to worry in the back of your mind, right? Because your situation is always extremely precarious as an adjunct, right? And going back to the point of why most professors don't speak out or oppose this, because it's much easier to just let it go, right? Not say anything. Because your situation is exceedingly precarious, right? They don't even have to fire you. It just takes some complaints, and if they feel that it's easier to just get rid of you, that's what they'll do, right? And never mind that this person is crazy, that this is a crazy person. And that's the other thing that bothers me, to go on a rant now. So much of this bullshit ideology that people come up with of their fucking feelings, right? These are just crazy people. At what point do we start listening to crazy people? I mean, if a homeless guy comes up and tells you he's offended by the moon or something, you just kind of nod and go, yeah, whatever, buddy. And you wander off, right? You're like, that's a crazy person. But somehow these crazy people get into our schools and complain as students, or complain on Twitter or whatever, and we actually listen to them, right? When they're crazy people. Fuck them. Why are we listening to fucking lunatics, right? I don't understand it at all. But I have to worry about it. Because some nut thinks that me talking about fact, right, people coming over from Asia into North America, is for some reason offensive. How is that even offensive? The only reason it's offensive, or it's portrayed as offensive in his mind, is that he's super big on his Native American identity and they have an oral tradition. And their oral tradition says that people sprang out of the earth here since always. And that somehow contradicting that in any kind of way is offensive. Give me a fucking break. Good grief. But that's what it's like being a professor. That's, it's week. It's early in the semester. And already, this nonsense, right? All the time. Getting worse and worse. How is that offensive? Explain that to me. Explain why we should give a shit that you're offended. Maybe you're just crazy. People who think the earth is flat get offended when you say it's round. Who cares? Why are we supposed to care? I don't get it. Es una pinche locura. Pinche gringo estúpido. Anyways, it's just craziness. It's craziness. Anyways, that's a day in the life. Day in the life.